pass to you.
That is similar to my story. I actually am a registered nurse by day, so I do still have a full-time job that I do. And then I do a little bit of everything at PDJ at night as well. So little do you know, I can weld, I can run a 20-ton press, I can drive a forklift. I can do it all, and guess what else I get to be in charge of? Our marketing, our accounting, and all those good things. So, and I know a lot of us, in a small business situation and are in similar circumstances where you have to wear many hats, you have to be responsible for a lot of things. So I will not stand up here and profess to be an expert at all on marketing or even on Etsy or Pinterest. But really why I'm here is just to share our experience, being able to put kind of a web presence for our business out there and be able to share what we do with others and give people an opportunity to see what we make, what we have to offer, what we can produce, and things like that. So that's really kind of where our background and where our story, begins with kind of starting our online presence with Etsy and dabbling into Pinterest a little bit as well. So there is a lot to cover. There's a lot on your slides. I'm one of those who feels like I want to give you, you a bang for your buck while you're here. So I'm going to do my best to get through things as efficiently as possible. So certainly if you have questions along the way, please feel free to jump in and ask, along the way. So we're going to start with just a little bit of an overview of Etsy. How many have ever heard of Etsy? Is it something that at least a word that's kind of a little bit familiar to people? So basically Etsy is an e-commerce website. It's an online retail site dedicated to selling handmade art, vintage items, or craft supplies. So there are very specific guidelines on Etsy, what you can sell and what you can't sell. It's basically a collection of online stores gathered under one retail umbrella. So for a business like ours, and I'll refer to our business a lot as a good example because that's been my experience. For me to start an online store by myself and write the code and figure out how do I get people there, how do I show up in searches, that is way beyond anything that they taught me in nursing school. So that wasn't anything that I wanted to deal with. I wanted to find something that already had customers, already had a way for people to find my items, a way to list my items, a way to sell and ship my items, and that's where Etsy was a perfect fit for us. People ask, what does Etsy mean? They think it's an abbreviation for something. It actually stands for oh yes in Italian. So you see all these cutesy little things and they go, oh yeah, that's really cute. So they're looking for something unique, something different when they created Etsy. So that's really where Etsy came from. It was actually founded in 2005. A gentleman that was a painter, carpenter, photographer, basically a gentleman that was an artist, and trying to find a place to sell his things online. So you go to some of these other retail giants and they're selling appliances and electronics and clothes and all those things, and where is there to go for people to buy art and unique pieces and personalized things and pictures and paintings and clothes and handmade items? There's no place to go. So he started actually in 2005, took him 3 months, and basically got the website up and running. Today, Etsy has over 25 million members, over 900,000 active shops on the Etsy store, on the Etsy website, 60 million visitors monthly, over 1.5 billion page views, meaning different things looked at on Etsy every single month, over 18 million items listed for sale on Etsy, 200 countries that have annual transactions, so meaning there's things going on. We've actually shipped to the UK, we've shipped to Canada, we've shipped to Australia. So without this, we never would be able to have that presence out there like we have. There's a big following on Twitter, big following on Facebook as well. Again, those social media sites, kind of like Etsy and Pinterest, a little bit of having a network out there for your business. Etsy's growth. In 2005, less than $1 million in sales. 2012, almost $900 million in sales. So obviously they're doing something right to be able to create this presence, create an opportunity for small businesses like me, artists working, maybe at home or part-time hobbies, things like that. They have a way of just creating that volume and creating a really unique shopping experience. So what can you sell on Etsy? You can't sell anything, just anything on Etsy. Art, photography, clothing, jewelry, food items are actually sold on there. Bath and beauty products, people do quilts, crocheted items, things like that. Home and garden decor, gifts and toys. Theirs specifically is handmade, vintage, or craft supplies is really what their main focus is. And on Etsy, there's a huge listing of do's and don'ts. You can't buy a bunch of stuff from overseas and resell it on Etsy as your handmade creations. They're very specific with their guidelines for what you can sell on Etsy. Our company personally, for PDJ, I'll tell you a little bit about what we do so you can kind of see how this all ties into why does a cutting and fabricating company have a presence, even a retail presence online. The majority of our business is industrial cutting, so we do cutting for foundries and factories and manufacturers and things like that. We also do CNC plasma cutting, and part of what we do with our CNC plasma cutter is we create metal art. And that is where we found a home on Etsy, is with our metal art, a unique place for us to go and sell our items. So that is what we, it's something that we're making ourselves, we're producing it, and we're putting it out there for retail. People can also go on there to purchase craft supplies, which I do as well for some of our metal art items. Find a lot of unique things as far as craft supplies. People think, oh, craft supplies, is it magnets and buttons and all those things? A huge part of Etsy is digital files, digital images. I purchase digital images for my magnets. When I make my magnetic boards, I purchase them off of Etsy. People purchase artwork on there. People purchase invitations on there, party accessories, the little cupcake toppers and all, because everybody's a baker now, everybody makes cupcakes now. So all the little cupcake toppers and, like I said, wedding invitations and all those, there's a huge market on there for digital images as well. So that kind of falls on that craft supplies as well. And then vintage items must be at least 20 years old. There's a huge market out there for vintage clothing, vintage wedding dresses, all that kind of stuff. So you'll see a lot of those things when you're looking on Etsy. So we will do just a little bit of an overview. So when you go home and you sit on your computer tonight or on your iPad and you want to take a look at what does Etsy look like, where do I find things on Etsy? So we'll do just a little tour of our Etsy. So this is basically kind of what you're going to see on your welcome page, and I'm actually logged in as me on the welcome page. So in this realm of Etsy is where we have 900,000 different stores. So a lot of times if you're looking for that unique item, you can find it on here because it just is endless sometimes when you're searching for something really unique. Starting at the top, there's a search bar. So you can actually type anything in that search bar, anything that you're looking for. I'll do baseball. I have a son that plays a lot of baseball. A lot of baseball. So you can type in the word baseball. 58,000 items come up for baseball. You can narrow it down to handmade items, vintage items, craft supplies, art pieces, jewelry pieces. So you see there's bracelets and there's hair things and there's baseball bats and there's, people make baseball hats with like your team's logo and things like that. So you can search for almost anything by using your search bar and trying to find items that are, interesting to you. You can narrow it down even further if I'm looking for, like an iron-on for my baseball shirt. I wanted a blingy baseball shirt for this summer. I didn't want the traditional t-shirt with the screen printed logo. I wanted like a blingy one with my son's number on it. So I go on Etsy and that's what I search for, is like baseball t-shirt bling, and you can find all these iron-ons, and then you email this company and say, I need it to say ships, and I need it to say number 14, and I need a baseball, and put it together for you and ship it out. So can't always find that a lot of places. So it really is amazing shopping experience to be able to find something really, really unique. So you have your search bar on the top of the page, so that's one way to look for things. You also have categories on the left-hand side. So if you're just kind of trolling for things that maybe of interest you, not necessarily looking for anything specific, you can look down the left side as well and try to find different things that may be of interest to you. So we're down a little bit more on the page here. So there's just tons and tons and tons of our baseball items on there. And you see there's 250 pages, there's 50,000 items. So you can keep searching on there for quite a long time. And there's, look at the cute little crochet hat on there. That was fun. So that's good. So the other way that you can find things on Etsy when you're trying to search for retail things, they've got other opportunities on there as an artist and as a business to get your name out there. They've got something called featured shops. So you can actually send a note to Etsy and say, I would like my shop to be featured. This is why. This is something unique that I do. This is what I offer. This is why I'm special. This is why I'm different. How many times as a business do you get an opportunity to tell potential customers why you're different and why you're better? You don't always have that opportunity. You have to get in the door. You have to talk with them. You have to meet with them. Etsy helps kind of bridge that connection before you even talk to that person. And you say, hey, here's my featured shop. Oh, this is my passion. This is why I do this. This is why I like this. This is why I create these items. You get that history and you get a connection to the sellers of these items. So there's an opportunity for featured shops. I am not a blogger. I know a lot of people are. There is an opportunity to blog on Etsy. You can talk about your own experience of setting up your shop on Etsy. You can talk about a craft show that you went to or a craft fair that you went to. There's a ton of opportunity on here to blog about your experiences. And a lot of people are willing to share this is where I've come from on Etsy. This is how I get my, this is how I've been able to grow my business on Etsy. So people are very, very willing to share their experiences and say, this is what I've done, this is what I've tried, this is how I've increased visits to my page, this is how I've increased my sales. Tons of information on the blog posts as well. The other thing towards the bottom is recently listed items. So down here you'll see things that have recently been added to Etsy. That is constantly changing because things are being added all the time. So here's another opportunity for your items to show up right on the home page of Etsy. How many of us get goosebumps at the thought of logging into an online retail site with millions of visitors seeing one of your items right there on the home page? It's wonderful for a very small business with very limited means to be able to have an opportunity to have our items out here with this much exposure. This isn't something that I could ever do by myself by just creating an online store through my website or anything like that. So it's a lot of opportunities for people to be able to share information. Any questions so far? I talked super fast also. I'm at 45 today, not 33. Sorry about that.
I do have one.
Yeah.
So is it free to be a retailer on Etsy?
Yes.
And how do they make their money? Just out of
There are a couple ways that they make their money. You pay to list items, and you don't pay to open your store. You don't pay to join. You pay to list items, and then you also pay to once items sell. You pay a 3.5% fee once your item sells.
Okay.
So that's how they make their money. So people say, well, I don't really know. I'm not quite sure how to get started. I have no idea where to start, and that was me. Because trust me, there's RN after this name. There's no initials that say marketing, accounting, web design, nothing. So, but I needed to do it. I needed to do it for a business. I needed to create this presence. So, how do you start? Where do you even say, you know what, I don't even know if this is for me. I'm not sure if this is something I want to do. Well, who's your customer? For our business in particular, we were looking, a lot of people like homeowners looking for, yard signs, welcome signs, people looking for wedding gifts, anniversary gifts, home decor. That's our ideal customer. So from that you decide, okay, what is probably my average age of my customers? Where do they live? How much money are they making? How much are they going to spend on my items? And what are their personal tastes? And you set up your shop to appeal to your target market. So if you're looking at doing something to a younger generation, that's kind of how you want to market yourself and your shop. You want to market it towards who you're hoping to gain for your customers. Our target customer is probably a family that's looking for something for their home. So that's what I share is our story, that we are a family-owned business. It's Patrick, Deanne, and Jared. It's a PDJ. It's the three of us. So that's our family business. So that's the presence that I put out for everyone. This is our family. That's the message I share on our Etsy page is we're a family business. And that's the customers I'm trying to attract. So if you're trying to attract a younger generation, that's how you want to set up your page. Create your brand. So what makes you interesting? What makes you different than, why should I buy from you and not the next person who sells metal art or who sells clothing or who sells, digital images? Why should I buy from you? What makes you different? For us, our niche is personalization. That's a huge niche for us, that we don't want to see the same metal art at every house down the road. We want everybody to be able to have something that they want and something that is special and personal for them. And that is our niche, and that's what we market. We don't want to cut 20,000 of the same sign and ship them out. We want to make exactly what you want, have people go, that is great, where did you get that? Not like, oh yeah, I saw it at the 5 neighbors down the road. We want something that makes people go, oh, that's really cool, where did you find it?
So in other words, if I wanted like a palm tree or something, you could make me a palm tree?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's how you make it personal, right?
That's how we make it personal. And then, people say, well, Okay, I love it if you could make me a palm tree, like say a welcome sign that looks like a palm tree. Well, what's really cool, guess what? We can cut your name out of it. Really, you can do that? Sure, we can do that, because where else are you going to find it? And that's what our niche is, and we know that's what our niche is, and we know that's what makes us unique, and that's what we market. Your brand is your promise to your customers, an expectation of an experience. You tell them what to expect from you. If they can expect a high quality, personalized product, that's what you're going to deliver, and that's what you're going to promise them, and they want to know what you have to offer. Why is what you're offering of such value, and why should they buy it? Create and craft the perception of your brand. So what do you want people to think of you? How do you want them to look at your store and your experience and your items? You have the wonderful ability to create whatever kind of online presence you want, because you're creating your store. You're not walking into an existing retail location and putting your items in that location. That may not quite fit with the theme of that store, or the philosophy of that retail store. You're creating your own store based on your brand. It's ongoing, always changing, just as your business always changes. I'm updating our Etsy page all the time because I feel like, okay, I need to update a policy on this, or I need to fix the shipping profile on this, or I want to change our message a little bit, our welcome message, or all those things. It's an ongoing process. I don't think it's ever anything you can just do it and leave it be and not pay any attention to it. Check out your competition. Before we started, I can tell you, I got on Etsy and I searched metal art. And I saw what were other people making, how much were they charging, how much were they charging for shipping, what options were they offering, how big is the sign, and can we compete with the prices? And if I can't compete with the prices, how am I going to tell my customers I can't compete with the guy that's going to give you the sign for $25 and I'm $40, but this is why mine is worth $40, because maybe I'm painting it in 2 colors and I'm going to, do something else to it to make it really special and really unique. So you get to figure out your competition and at the tip of your fingers. And again, how hard is it to do that when you're out in the real world in a physical retail location, to walk into all these stores and see, oh, they're charging $20 for this crocheted hat. Okay, now I'm going to walk down the street and I'm going to the next store and I'm going to see how much they're charging for it. This you can do at your computer, at your laptop, or your iPad or whatever at 11 o'clock at night. Like how do businesses market themselves? If you're finding a company that, and I'm not saying you should copy from anybody, I'm saying see what works. If you go on these stores and you look at them and see how do they market themselves, what is their story, what are they sharing, what are they enticing people with to come into their store, what's their brand, what things do you like about their page? You go, oh, I really like the way that they have this set up. How's their pricing? You can look at what kind of sales a store has had as well. So you can see, geez, they're doing really well. So they're doing something right. These are the people that I want to watch. These are the people that I want to follow and say, what are they doing right? Is it how they brand themselves? Is it what they promise for shipping? Is it the customization they offer or the options they offer? What makes them different and what makes them successful? Do they have a presence on Facebook and Twitter? There's so much stuff about social media and getting your message out there and sharing your information and making all these online connections, that the beautiful thing about Etsy is it all connects to Twitter and Facebook as well. So you can, right from your Etsy homepage, and I'll show you all this stuff on my page, you can have a link right to, they can like your Facebook page right from your Etsy page. They can follow you on Twitter right from your Etsy page. So again, this is all pulling that all together to work up your online presence so people can find you when they want to buy your stuff. So how do you get started? Where do you even begin? Joining Etsy is free, and you don't have to necessarily have any intention of having a store on Etsy. Anybody can join Etsy, anyone can purchase from Etsy, and joining Etsy is free. You need to create a user ID, and if you are going to go ahead and do a shop, which is kind of where I'm focusing my talk today, you create your shop name. User ID can't be changed, but your shop name can always change. Somebody can start out with something and go, okay, there's 47, PDJ Boutique or something on there. I got to find something that's going to make me stand out a little bit more. Read and research Etsy.com and definitely look at their blogs, their do's and don'ts, and their frequently asked questions. There is a ton of information on Etsy. I did not sit down with anyone when I started our store and have anyone walk me through, this is how you set up your store. I read and researched, and people are so willing, especially with the blogs and the frequently asked questions, to share their experiences and say, well, this is what I did when I set up my store, and this is what worked for me, and this is how I got views, in my store, and this is how I got people to look at my stuff. So there's a ton of information on the help section on the Etsy page as well. So when you go to actually start creating your own shop, your own store, you add information, which we'll go through, create your shop appearance. So again, this is your opportunity to create whatever kind of a presence and whatever kind of brand you want when you're looking at setting up your store. Again, you can add your links to your social media pages, and then you can develop your store, and we'll go through all this. I'll go through kind of my shop as an example for you guys. Your store areas include information, appearance. You can set up your own policies, your return policies, your shipping policies, your custom order policies, anything you want. You can spell that all out for your customers. Okay, so now we'll take a little look at setting up your store. I'm actually logged in as me, so I'm actually going to go to our store on Etsy. So there's a couple things that you can see when you get to go through the whole process, and I'm not going to go through like step by step, fill out this, plug in this, because we could be here till midnight, and trust me, I could probably talk until then as well. So you've got things like, oops, oh there we go, I must have just refreshed a little bit there. Okay, so you've got a banner for your page. You make this banner yourself. The great thing about Etsy tells you exactly how big it needs to be to fit into the space you have on your page. So you're not messing around going, okay, now it's too big, now it's too wide, now it's cutting off the text. Use whatever photo program you have on your computer. You can create your banner for your page. You can create your shop sections. You can decide when people come to my store and they're looking for something, how do they want to find things? We do a lot of wedding cake toppers, monogram cake toppers. We have outdoor wall art, we have regular wall art, we have garden art, we have magnetic memory boards. So I've got sections there for every item that I have listed on my page. So if people know me and they want to just visit my PDJ Metal Art page on Etsy, they can go right to my store and they can pick the section that they want. People are trolling around and they find one of my items that leads them to my store. Now they can see everything else I have to offer. So there's things like featured listings, and that's what these are, featured listings. And I kind of change those with the season, where I say, okay, this is kind of, summertime outdoor things like the fire pit ring, and these are two of our best sellers, our sun and moon and our owl. Those are two of our best sellers, so put those prominently on the top of your page. These are all things that are built in to the Etsy site for you to be able to click and say, click, I want to feature this item, and it'll go to the top of your page. You're not writing code and trying to figure out how to arrange this all on your web page, because trust me, I do our website too, and don't go on my website because I'm sure it'll probably make you cringe, but I do my best. But it's hard. It's hard if you don't know, that if you don't have that background. So to be able to have something where you basically kind of plug everything in is great. There's information as a shop owner. So there's information on me. So if I click on my name there is actually a picture of me that pops up. Oops. And it shares my story. My husband and I have a small metal cutting and fabricating business. We provide custom, personalized metal art for home and garden, as well as business and commercial. Our greatest joy as small business owners is to work with our customers to create a one-of-a-kind art piece that exceeds their expectations. Our customers truly give us the best ideas for our projects. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a project in mind, let us help. How many times do you know this much information and know my passion when you walk into a store? Etsy gives you a wonderful opportunity to be able to give people the insight not only into what you do, but who you are, and they connect with you as a person. And sometimes that's missing so much in online retail, and I think just so much in everything is, I'll Facebook you, I'll text you. We're missing that personal connection. People get to know me. They get to know my story. They get to know my motivation. They get to know what drives me to do what I do. So there's information, again, on me as a shop owner. There's a section on there to request a custom order. I told you custom orders are kind of our niche. So there's a request custom order on there. People can click on that request custom order. They can pick one of these listings if they want to. If not, they may come up with an idea completely off the, off the chart and say, I'm looking for this, I see you guys do metal work, can you make me this? So people can send me a message and say, yeah, I want a custom order, I'm looking for this. Etsy walks through the process of building that custom order with you, and then you can turn it into a listing for your customer to purchase. So a lot of wonderful built-in things on their program. There is information as well. It's called an about page. So here's my smiling face. About PDJ Metal Art. Again, how many times do you have an opportunity to really meet the person behind who's making something for you? So this is our story. I won't bore you and read the entire story. But, basically telling where we're coming from and why we do this. A lot of times, especially I find on Etsy, when I take a look at other people's stores, I find it's a lot of people like me who maybe have a full-time job. This is a job that they do maybe part-time. It's a passion of theirs. It's a hobby that they've done forever and a day, and somebody said, you know what, you should sell those. People would love those jewelry or those sweaters or those crochet things that you make, or that artwork that you make. So many times people are sitting there and just kind of hovering, going, I don't know if other people would like this. Well, guess what? Here's an opportunity to share your story. Tell people, I've been doing this for 20 years. I've been doing this for so long. I've been doing this just for my family. Everyone encourages me to get out there and share my talent. So here I am. So again, it offers people an opportunity to connect with you as a person and as a business owner, which I think is missing so much in so many of our sales transactions. So, again, I have a little bit about myself. Again, I'm, a registered nurse, 15 years in long-term care management. That's what I've done. I don't have a background in this. Somehow I find myself figuring out how to run a press covered in hydraulic fluid and running the forklift and my flip-flops and whatever else. But that's a whole other story. So it gets people to connect with you, and that is one of the best things I think about Etsy. One of the other things that is on the page, and again, these features are all built into your page. You're basically going and plugging all of that information in. It's kind of like a template, and it's laid out for you. So you can lay out your shop policies. So you can have a welcome message when people first log into your page. And that was kind of what I read to you guys. It's the first thing that pops up when people view my items. How do we like to be paid? What are our shipping terms? What is our policy on refunds and exchanges? Frequently asked questions, anything else. So we tell people how long it's going to take to get something. If you want something personalized, it might take a little bit longer. We appreciate your feedback and comments. We let people know we want to know how we're doing. We want feedback. If you get something from us, tell us how we did. I have something in here that we offer wholesale pricing for brick and mortar stores. If people say, I really love that stuff. I've been looking for some unique metal art in my brick and mortar store. Can't find it. We offer that. So people know that. Without having to cold call me and say, are you interested in this? Would you be interested in, selling your items? They know a lot about me before we even get to talk. It also tells you how many sales I've had. So it tells me I've had 69 sales. So it tells me, it shares with people, actually I should say, visiting my page, what items sell. Well, you can see what sells on my page. What are the hot sellers? What do people like? So people know that, hey, people have bought things from these people, and they have good feedback. People say, okay, good, I feel like I trust them because they've had really good feedback. And feedback, again, is another thing that's built right into Etsy. So if I buy something on Etsy, I have an opportunity to give feedback to that seller, just like anyone who purchases something on Etsy has an opportunity to give feedback to me. So people can comment, positive or negative comments. So again, this helps build your reputation. Because how many times do people say, oh, you did a great job, but then nobody else ever knows about it? Here you have an online presence that says, I've done these great things. People are really happy with them. People like our products. There's no complaints. There's not people saying, oh, I really didn't like it, or it wasn't what I expected. People have a really good idea and feel comfortable buying from you if they feel like you've already got an established reputation. Because there is so much of an unknown out there. When you buy anything online, am I really getting what I think I'm getting? We'll zip ahead a little bit here to where we were. So there is a lot of information, like I said, to cover. And I really wanted to give you guys a good idea from the beginning how to set up your store if you're, it's something that you're thinking about doing. So talking about listing things on Etsy, how do I add things to the Etsy page? How do I get things out there for people to buy? Listing fees are 20 cents to list an item, and it stays in your Etsy store for 4 months. The biggest bill I've ever had on Etsy is probably 20 some bucks for a month. For me, that's a lot of bang for my buck for advertising and keeping our items out there and being able to have a web presence for our items. You want to create titles that describe your product. Very vague things make it harder for people to find. Your listing should always include pictures. Everything is required to have a picture. Descriptive words, shapes, sizes, colors, details, anything that can help the buyer learn as much about your product as possible. Because think of all the questions that they may ask you and try to include that information in your listing. Offer options. That's a great thing for people. Oh, I like it, but I want it in pink, or I want it in blue, or I want it this big. You can offer all those options. It's all built into adding your listings to your store. You can calculate your shipping options, and then you add those items to your shop. I call it mastering the search. Time, experimentation, and reviewing of your shop statistics, which is another feature we'll cover, a great built-in for Etsy, will help you master the art of being found on Etsy. Make sure your items are titled and tagged and that they're descriptive and relevant. You're allowed 13 tags per item to help identify items when shoppers search. Use the item's color, characteristics, details. Don't be too vague or broad with your descriptions. So if someone searches on there for a polka dot magnetic board, good chance my PDJ Metal Art polka dot metal magnetic board is going to pop up there. And use all of your tags for every item that you list. Okay, so we'll look very quickly at our listings. So whenever you list anything on Etsy, it's again a template that you're filling out that's going to plug it all into your listing. It's going to ask you who made it, what is it, when did you make it. There's categories for how you want this to pop up on Etsy when people are searching, when you first log into those category pages over there, when you first get into Etsy. People add, and this is because I said I do a lot of the downloadable files, you can do it like immediate downloads for like digital files, which is wonderful because I think somebody said they were artwork and stuff. So that's wonderful. People can get an instant email and say, here's your product. And I do that a lot of times when I buy images because I make a lot of magnets and stuff for my magnetic boards. And I get those images right away. Well, for me to go to the store, try to find what I want, or print them off online myself, they're quality files, they're exactly ready to print. All that information is available. You can add variations then to your listings as well. So the one that I picked is our farm scene. This is another thing that we do sell quite a bit of. So my description, my title is a farm sign. So if somebody's looking for a farm sign, great place to start. I didn't want to get too specific with it because I don't want to narrow anybody down and knock anybody out from seeing it. But then you put things in like, where could you use it? Oh, you could hang it on the side of your barn. You could hang it as a, I have people who bought it, no, we hung it in the milk house, or we hung it on the house itself. Where would you put it? How big is it? What, for ours, this is personalization. What text can you add to it? All those things. What colors does it come in? And it shows you how when you actually have Google, it's going to show you how your listing is going to come up on Google. Mine is going to come up Farm Sign by PDJ Metal Art on Etsy. So it shows you exactly how that's going to show up on Google as well.
I'm sorry, so that's an ad, right? Your Google ad?
No, this just shows. No, this just shows if it shows up in the search on Google.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Very good.
So it just gives you a little sneak peek of what description. You know how when you're looking for those web pages, when you search for something, and it pops up. That's how it shows how it's going to pop up. You can pick what shop section you want to put it into. You can also pick more things to describe it. And this is where I was talking about your tags. Oh look, I'm short a tag. But these are the words that I put in there to help people when they're logging in to Etsy looking for things, where to find my stuff. Farm, barn, barn sign, farm sign, family farm sign, metal art, farm decor, barn decor, garden art, wall art, metal bar sign, and personalized sign. So some descriptive, that are very specific to the barn sign itself, and some that are a little more general when people are looking for I'm looking for a personalized sign for a housewarming gift. You can say what material it is, you can talk about the price, and then you can talk about the shipping cost. And once that's all finished, once you follow that template and you plug in all that information about your listing, you get a preview of what your listing looks like. So this is what my listing looks like when people find this on Etsy. So there's my picture that I had on that page. There's my paragraph that I wrote. There's my information that says I can do custom orders. This is how much it's going to be to ship it. This is the kind of payment I take. So all of that information is there in a nice, lovely little listing. Other things that are helpful on your listings, I get to see that this item was viewed 261 times. I have 20 admirers, meaning I have 20 people that say I love this, and I'm going to put a little mark on it on Etsy to keep it. The other thing about Etsy is something called treasury lists. So people can say, I'm going to make a farm treasury list. And they can pull images from Etsy that they like and put them on a treasury list. Again, that gets more people to see your product. And anybody can make a treasury. I've done like a breast cancer treasury, during October. So did a breast cancer treasury and, featured different breast cancer awareness items that I found on Etsy. So again, you're networking with other pages because then you send them a little message that says, hey, I featured your item. It gets you talking to other stores. And again, it's that collection of information that's there then on Etsy for other people to view. Another thing that we didn't really cover, but I'll talk just very quickly about, is accepting payment. I know there's probably an easier way for me to get exactly back to where I need to go, but again, I'm not a techie, sorry. Is setting up payment on your shop. People are nervous about that. I'm giving out my credit card and all that kind of information. So there are options on Etsy, several options to accept payment. You can decide how you'd like to accept payment as individual for your store. So it doesn't have to be, Etsy doesn't say people can only pay you with credit cards. People can pay you by check and money order, and you can decide that. And what I have in my shop policy is if you decide to pay me by check or money order, your item will not get shipped until those funds clear. So that's how I've decided to set up my store. I also accept PayPal in my store. And a PayPal account, if you don't have PayPal, PayPal is really easy to set up. And there are some fees associated with it, but it's convenient. And then Etsy also offers direct checkout. People can plug in their credit card information or their debit card information. Goes right into my Etsy account. I don't have to touch it. I don't have to think about it. It's deposited the next Monday. So there's a lot of convenient ways to collect your money on Etsy and that when you actually sell something. So once you actually receive an order's been placed, you receive an email notification. You'll receive payment. The sold item is generally taken out of your store, just like if it was physically in a store. It's taken out of your store for someone, so no one else can attempt to buy if you only have one of a kind. You can list multiple items. If you have 10, if I have 10 signs, I can put quantity of 10. And then it'll stay listed. If I only have one listed, it comes out of my store. It sits there in my sold orders waiting to be completed. Through Etsy, you can send a shipping notification. So if I set up UPS shipping for this item, I'll take that UPS number, I'll attach it to the shipping notification right on my Etsy store, and I'll send a message back to my customer saying your order from PDJ is completed, here's your UPS tracking number. You can actually create postage labels as well, right from Etsy. That's usually through the Postal Service, we usually use UPS. And you can leave feedback as well. Once that seller purchases an item from you, I can leave feedback for them and say, hey, they were a great seller. They paid me right away, didn't have any issues with them. Just like once they get the item, they can leave feedback for me. So there's a little bit, and I'll just kind of show you what those sold items look like. Oh, no Pinterest yet. You didn't get there yet. So I've got a section here with sold orders. I actually left this one in here. This is, actually I already shipped this out, but this is a flag that someone purchased from me. It was going to Georgia. Someone purchased this from me earlier this month. So from here, I can print a shipping label. I can mark the item as shipped, and I can send her a message and say, here's the UPS tracking number, which I'm going to do tonight, but I left it in there so you could all see it. But I can send her that UPS number. She has a tracking number. She'll get an email saying she knows her item is shipped from me. So again, it's a very clean way to run your retail business online. And a lot of it is thought out ahead of time for you, so you don't have to try to recreate the wheel, which is not something I wanted to undertake in our situation. So, any questions?
So is there some infrastructure when you join or when you do this Etsy that helps you with that shipping? You didn't have to set that all up?
There's shipping profiles that you can add. So if you know, okay, when I ship an item, depending on what you're making, if I ship an item that's this big, it's almost usually always say $10 to ship it. You can attach that price right to your item. Now I know with the items that I have on Etsy about what it costs to ship those items pretty much anywhere in the US. So internationally, usually people will message me and say, okay, I have it going here, and then we work with it from there. But there is information there that will, kind of help you figure it out. And you can kind of dummy it through the USPS shipping option on here to figure out a price as well when you're doing those listings. So it'll help you kind of figure that out. But I pretty much kind of just know from what we've shipped about how much things are to ship. And then you can add those different shipping profiles, and it'll save your shipping profiles. You can have, like for me, I have small art item, medium art item, large flag. I know kind of how much those items are and stick to that range. There are some companies on Etsy that will say, okay, if the shipping is more than $2, if I overcharge you by more than $2, I'm going to refund you the difference and all that. That's entirely up to you how you decide you want to set up your store. There's another section in the store called Shop Statistics. Now we all want to know how we're doing, and we all want to know feedback on what our store is up to and what am I doing that's working, what am I doing that's not working. Because ultimately it does come down to numbers. Is all this work that I'm doing worth it? So I don't mind sharing this with you guys. It's not like I make $1 million on Etsy, so it's okay. But it's going to tell you how many views you have of your items, how many things have been viewed in your shop, how many times have your listings been viewed, how many people like your items, how many orders have you had, talks about your revenue, so you can see, okay, there are sometimes, is it certain stuff I'm listing that seems to be selling better. The part that I find most useful is figuring out my traffic sources. How do people find me? So what's working, what's not working, and what are things that people like? What is driving people to my store? For me, it's my monogram cake topper. That's the biggest thing that has been viewed on our site, and that's 552 views. Well, guess what? For really not costing me anything but 20 cents to list it on Etsy, for me, for our size business, that's a good investment for us. 20 cents for me to list it, and I've got 500 people looking at my product. So. You can also look at what pages are viewed. Again, it's the monogram cake topper. That's our big deal on our website. And again, that Sun Moon is one of our best ones. What is the most favorite listing? So again, you get to see what people like. If there's something that it's been on my Etsy store for a year and 2 people have looked at it and 2 people have liked it, get it out of your store, because it's just not something that people want to see. They're going to want to see something fresh. So then you look and see, okay, this is what people really like. Our Sun Moon that we make. And we just sell and make a lot of those. So that's the stuff that people like. So I know that's where I need to direct my products that I'm listing on Etsy. Boy, for talking fast, I thought I would go faster than this.
Is the sun and moon, is that garden art?
Yes. Yep, we consider that part of our garden art.
Did you do your PowerPoint?
Yes.
For somebody that doesn't know what she's doing, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Good job.
You learn by necessity. And that's really what it is. I mean, again, I am not a marketing person. I don't ever claim to be. I said I've done our website too. And I probably would make real website people cringe, but for us it works. It's within our means. It gets a presence out there. It helps tell people what we do. So it works for us. And I know you guys are all probably cringing, going, I know there's an easier way for me to get exactly back to where I need to, but I'm just keeping it interesting, a little visual stimulation here.
It's a good review.
To keep, yes, and there will be a quiz, so please pay good attention to everything that's coming. So we talked about the sold orders, we talked about our feedback, we went through our statistics. So I really was thinking I should cram the Etsy thing down a little bit more, but I really wanted to give you guys an idea that it is doable. It is not something that is intimidating. For me, the thought of, I looked at setting up a retail store like through our web page, through our company that we have that, we host our web page through. And it was like so confusing, and there's all these big words in there, and there was stuff I just didn't understand, and the technical terms. I didn't want to deal with that. I thought, why not connect myself with something that is established, has a good customer following, and it's kind of in a way, you plug it in, you post your listing, and that's what I wanted to do. It works for us.
So how long have you had your Etsy?
We've had our Etsy store, we actually started our business in 2009, and I opened our Etsy store in 2011, and I gotta admit, I was pretty lax for about the first year. I think I had like 5 items sitting in the store. I never paid attention to it, never checked on it. And then I really started to try to dig my heels in and say, I've got to utilize this resource here. I have to get a web presence for us. Because for us, we don't have a retail location. It doesn't make sense for our kind of business. For us to have, people say, where can I see your store? It doesn't make sense for the volume of what we sell to have a store where I've got somebody there from 8 to 5 and have to deal with all that overhead and those expenses and insurance. It just didn't make sense for us. So that's why I said, I need to really just amp up our Etsy presence. So, and again, I could probably still be doing more on there. So
Your 69 sales that you've had.
69 sales are probably in the
that.
last year and a half.
Okay.
So I thought that was pretty good. And I have about 50 items, I think, listed in our store. So granted, we've done hundreds of items. Some things are very cumbersome to ship, so I don't offer them on Etsy. We do a lot of yard art that's on really big posts. Well, it's going to be $40 to ship a $50 item. So a lot of stuff we just don't offer. So I try to do things that I know are going to be decent to ship and stuff that's, stuff we can produce pretty quickly to get it out to our customers quick. Who's all on Pinterest?
Who's on it or not on it?
Who's on it? Who pins? Who checks things out? That's good. A third of us. So I have to admit I was hesitant because people would say, "Oh, it's so addicting." Well, everything they say is completely true. We would be such a wonderful world if we all did the projects on Pinterest that we were going to do. We would be so organized. Every scummy corner in our house would be clean from the special cleaners we're all going to make ourselves that we find on Pinterest. But basically, Pinterest is a website. It defines itself as a tool for collecting and organizing things that you love. So how many times when you're trolling around looking for things online, whether it's a recipe for something or, I'm looking for ideas for my sister-in-law's baby shower, and I find all these things and they're all over the place, and you're never going to find them again, or you're going to add 47 things to your favorites and you're not going to understand what the titles of the pages are and you'll never get back to them. Pinterest is a wonderful way to keep track of those things that you find online and organize them. I should probably have Stacy come up here because she's probably better at Pinterest than I am. So it's an online pinboard style website where users pin pictures of things that interest them. Pinterest. It's one of the fastest, and I don't even know if that's true, but I said it to myself and I thought that sounds brilliant. Pin things that interest you. Pinterest. I don't know if that's true. I just thought it sounded really good. It's one of the fastest growing social network sites with over 80 million unique users every month. So it is a social network. For businesses, for us, it's a way, again, to get our products out there. The wonderful thing, like I said, when you're talking about Etsy, is it connects to Facebook, it connects to Pinterest. So if people see a listing on my Etsy page of something that they like, say it's the monogram cake topper, which is one of our biggest search things, our biggest visited things on our page. They're planning a wedding. They can pin that monogram cake topper from my store onto their My Dream Wedding folder on Pinterest. Users can upload, so you can actually take your own images and put them on there as well. Save, sort, and manage images known as pins and other media content, videos, and things like that. Your collections known as pin boards. So just picture 20 different bulletin boards on the wall here with all kinds of different subjects. Displays users' content and the content of others on the main page. So you can see what other people are up to on Pinterest as well as what you're up to and things that interest you. Users can then save individual pins to one of their own boards using the Pin It button, with pin boards typically organized by a central topic or theme. What are things that people put on Pinterest? Recipes. We should all be fantastic chefs with the amount of recipes that we have pinned on Pinterest. Travel ideas. So you're planning a trip somewhere. You can pin different things, activities that you'd like to do or places you'd like to see. Home improvement projects. We are in the process of finishing our basement. So I have a board on there about the lodge, we call it. So ideas that I see online that I would love to incorporate when our basement is finished. Inspiration, things that inspire you, things that you like, things that make you smile. Craft projects, home improvement projects, party plans, wish lists, sports collections, fashion, art, humor. It's really endless, the amount of information that you can keep track of. Pinterest for your business. Create a profile for your business. Again, this is all free, which is right up my alley. Create boards of your items. Add links to where they can be purchased. You can follow individual users and companies on there as well. And you want to post on there often, especially as a business, to keep your activity, keep yourself visible on there. So we will do a very quick view. And I have my Pinterest page all ready to roll here. We'll just refresh it a little bit here. So this is going to be kind of the overview of Pinterest. So I can see that my friend Olivia has been very busy posting, they say Olivia Bryan, a lot of things that are interesting to her. But because I follow her on Facebook, on Pinterest, I get to see what activities she's been up to. So you can follow people on Pinterest similar to how you can connect with people on Facebook. You can see their activity. So I can find friends. I can say, so-and-so's on Pinterest now. I can see what they're up to on Pinterest and what recipes do they like and things like that. So it's basically information on what my friends are up to on their homepage. When you log into your page, again, kind of similar to Facebook. If you guys are familiar with Facebook, you log in, you kind of have that news feed that shows what everybody else has got going on. Now I can click on my own page and I can show you what I have going on. So I've got information about us. Again, you can connect links with your Facebook. So again, integrating all of that media presence on there. And you can see the boards of the things that I like, products I love. Business-wise, I've got one here for monogram cake toppers and one for our magnetic memory boards because I'm thinking it's a crafty site. People are looking for craft ideas or ideas for the home or ideas for weddings. That's huge on Pinterest as well. So I've pinned things right from my Etsy store right to my Pinterest page. So people go, I really love that cake topper. Here's the infamous cake topper.
Can we see what it looks like?
Yes, you
Bigger?
can. So these are just some of the cake toppers that we've done. And you can, there's the one that gets the most attention. Yeah, so it shows you, what you have, what's part of that collection there. And then I give a description on it. And I say it's on my monogram cake topper board. And I can Facebook like it. I can pin it to another board. If I say, okay, these are cake toppers that I like, but now I'm going to put it to my particular wedding board. So there's just a ton of stuff. We could spend a whole nother 2 hours on Pinterest, right? But what I'll show you is the example I was going to give you guys was, again, so surprisingly, baseball.
So when you pin something, you pin it on your board. Is that what it's
Yep,
called?
it's like a virtual bulletin board. Yep.
Mhm.
So type in the word baseball. You guys have obviously figured I love to watch my kid play baseball. So I love to watch my boy play baseball. So I have a Pinterest board on things that I love about baseball and funny things and crafty things and jewelry things, and the list goes on. Isn't this great? I mean, a flag made out of baseball bats? Really?
Oh.
How many of us, we could do that, right? I'm just saying. So there's, right? Now, I'll be painting baseball bats at midnight probably to make this. But I know we're getting short on time. But I just wanted to share with you guys again. You can search for this and you can say, I love, this baseball bat. And I'm going to pin it, and I already have a pin, so I'll try to find something that I don't. Ooh, this is cute. Look at how cute that is. Look at, there's bases for the bench on the. All right? Why didn't we think of this? So you can say, you know what, I love this. Someday I'm gonna make this, right? We all are. So I can pin it, and I can pick my bulletin board that I want to pin it to, and I want to pin it to my baseball love bulletin board. And so now I've repinned it to my baseball love board.
And one of the things we found helpful is that it is a social networking site. So when you have your magnetic, you also put, or your cake toppers, you also put in really pretty decorative cakes or things that go with it, because that way it pops up in other
It connects,
people's
right, it connects
feeds.
other people to
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
Yep, and like with my baseball thing now, I'll see who else maybe has pinned that. And I can say, oh, okay, well, I'm going to see what else they pinned. Because a lot of times they go, oh, there is some really cute baseball thing that I didn't find myself, but they put it in their baseball bulletin board collection, and I can put it in mine. So again, we could spend a whole other hour on, at least, on Pinterest. But again, it's another way to get your presence out there in an inexpensive way to share, what you do, what you craft, what you make, and what you're interested in. And again, it attaches that human perspective again to your business and to who you are as an artist, or whatever venue you have to get out what you do. So that being said, I think we're at 5 o'clock. So I talked straight for an hour. So yay. So I do have some cards up here. At the end of the packet, also I did put my email information in there. I put information to our Facebook page, our website, my Pinterest page, and my Etsy page as well. So feel free to troll around there if you want to look. Any examples of things? Again, I do not profess to be an expert. I can say I'm an average Joe who was able to try to do this as best I could for my little business. So
Yeah, tell them what you did for Lincoln High School.
for the gym, for JFK. If you guys have been in the newly renovated JFK up at Lincoln High School, the gym, in the last year and a half, 2 years, all of the signage inside the JFK, we made 14, 15 signs for inside the JFK. All the signs that are above the bleachers that say ships adults and ship students, and then we made a big one with Abe Lincoln cut out for Abe's gang for the band. We did the bathroom signs, we did the training room sign. Those are all things that we were able to do on our plasma cutters. So that was an exciting project for us. My husband and I are both Lincoln graduates. We have a son that's going to be going to Lincoln in 2 years. Lord help me. Anyways, but teenager. But anyways, it's really neat to be able to do those things and to be able to take, what most people look at as an industrial machine and to be able to create something unique out of it. We have so many manufacturers in this area that say to us, you did that on a plasma cutter? Really? Yeah, because they use them for, a lot of industrial things, which we do too, but there's a whole other element that is very different to our machine that a lot of people haven't quite dialed into yet. So it's really neat to be able to do those things and to be able to do things that are, right here. We did the big sign actually out at Woodland Dunes. If you guys went out to Woodland Dunes, there's a huge lookout tower there. We did the dedication sign out there with the big outdoor scene on it and cut out all the letters, in memory of. So yeah, that's the neat stuff.
You think of what a client like this was to work with. I mean, her and Pat came to see us, and they were going to buy a company, and that was the first thing we were talking about. The next time they show up, they already bought this machine or they committed to it, and I'm going, what? Where'd this come from?
A little bit.
But anyway, it's been 5 years we've been working together, and it's just so much fun. Diane comes by about once a year and says, jack me up,
Yeah, I need some direction and sit down with us, and Tom is always very insightful for us to say, have you guys tried this? Have you looked at this? And it's nice to feel like you have somebody in your corner with working with SCORE, and I know we're off the subject a little bit, but to feel like you have somebody in your corner, that says, we're here for you, and I'm here just to listen, and I'm here just to help you. And there are not a lot of people in the world like that, unfortunately, but it's nice to know there is somebody there as a small business owner that says, you know what, bounce your ideas off me. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what your problems are, and we'll talk it out. And that's just something not everybody has access to. So if you don't, Tom, you got some cards with you, right? No, see? But
I would have called her out for that.
but it's been a good experience. So, and I do have contact information on there for me as well, and I have some cards here. Honestly, feel free to email me, you know, if you say, you know, okay, I'm thinking about taking the leap, chalk me down off the ledge and let's do this, and I would be happy, you know, to talk to you and to help you. So I know what it's like to be terrified on the other end going, do I take the leap, do I do it? So.
Dan, thank you so much
You're
for
very
sharing
welcome.
your ideas and
job.
things with us. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.